Hey, ambitious dentist, welcome to Start Your Dental Practice, the show for existing and aspiring dentists to take your dental practice to the highest possible level. I'm your host, Jonathan Van Horn, CPA and ABV, founder of dentistmetrics.com. In every episode, we aim to demystify the how to start a dental practice problem by bringing on world-class dentists, influencers, and consultants in the dental industry to pick their brain about how to get past the barriers involved from going from no practice to being a practice owner to owning your own successful dental practice. Today's show features Dr. Colin Lathrop from Lathrop Dental Center in Houston, Texas. For several years, Dr. Lathrop has honed his skills working as a dentist in the Houston area, and he's built up a loyal clientele who appreciate his friendly chairside manner and outstanding skill in all aspects of dentistry. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Dr. Lathrop's approach, his philosophy is to treat each patient individually, not according to a cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all dental regimen. Now, his simple but effective approach to his patients also rings true in his business and his marketing. He's knocking it out of the park with his patients, and he's killing it with Facebook. So I'm excited for you to hear this episode today. So here are a few things you're going to hear about. You're going to learn why you might not want to start your own practice or buy into one at the 2-year mark out of school, how to find the perfect location for your dental practice and family, the top things that contribute to the growth of your practice, and how to get an unordinary amount of exposure. You're going to learn what not to do if you're going to do Facebook marketing. And if you miss this and you're sure to come off as boring and you're going to scare off a lot of potential patients by doing everything wrong in Facebook. And I see a ton of practices making this mistake. And then you're going to see how to make it fun for your staff to contribute to your marketing. And at the end of this episode, you'll find out where you can get an exclusive behind-the-scenes clip that I got special permission from Dr. Lathrop to reveal that took place prior to our interview that you're about to hear. I really wish some of that content made it into the interview. We just didn't have enough time to be able to get it all in there, and we just started kind of spitballing and talking about all the different things that work and don't work in Facebook and why it works with his practices, why it doesn't work in other practices, and a lot of the really good content that I would have loved to have shared just didn't quite make it into the podcast. So be sure to listen all the way through this entire interview to get access to that. Now, here is my interview with Dr. Colin Lathrop. Hello, ambitious dentist. This is Jonathan Van Horn with Start Your Dental Practice podcast. Today we have with us Dr. Colin Lathrop out of Texas. Dr. Lathrop had started his practice in late 2013. We're recording this in October of 2015, and we are going to talk today about how he's done some really remarkable things in his practice, such as doubling the production and collections from year 1 to year 2, how he had a record July. I'm actually going to wait and let him tell you how many new patients he had in July, because I think it's a really high number for an out-of-network practice. So, Dr. Lathrop, say hello to everybody.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody.
Yes. So, Dr. Lathrop, you're in the Houston, Texas area, correct?
Yep, far west side in Katy, Texas.
Katy, Texas. So, tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get into dentistry? Where did you go to school? Were you an associate afterwards?
I started off in dentistry when I was about 14 years old. I started working in my stepdad's dental office, sweeping the floors, developing x-rays in those little x-ray rooms with little liquid tanks. And I did that all the way up through high school into college. And I went to dental school at the University of Texas dental branch in Houston, now called the University of Texas School of Dentistry. Before I went to dental school, I did a research fellowship at the National Institutes of Health campus in Bethesda, Maryland, and loved it up there. And then after dental school, I've associated in pretty much every type of office. I worked on Saturdays in a Medicaid office. I worked 2 days a week in a high-volume clinic that had DMOs, PPOs, cash patients, all sorts of stuff. I worked in a private country practice. I worked in a large group out of the city type of practice that had high new patient flow. I also worked in a out-of-network office north of Houston in the Woodlands for a good friend of mine, Brett Murphy, and really enjoyed that. And that's the practice model that I picked. Staying out of network, I'm not beholden to insurance companies, try to do the best dentistry for patients and communicate why, that level of dentistry is really what they deserve as a patient. I graduated in 2009, been an associate all the way up until December of 2013 when I started my own office, and, just been grinding it out ever since.
So you're about 4 years out of school before you started your own practice. At what point did you know you wanted to own your own practice?
Oh, from the beginning. I never wanted to work for somebody else forever because I knew ownership was really the way to have flexibility, really enjoyment in what I do, because I didn't want people, just telling me what to do all the time, as far as the boss goes and stuff like that. I know patients tell us what to do, but, we can dictate that, much more. So I always wanted to have my own show, I guess, and, just go from there for the flexibility.
And how did you know when you were ready?
That's tough because you think you're ready and you're really not ready. And what I mean by that is you get out of school, your professors build you up and you think, oh, you're a dentist and you're the greatest ever and all that, and you're going to have all these patients. And then you get out of school and you start working and you're all proud of yourself and everything, and then there's not that many patients and they don't want to listen to you. And you really weren't as good as you thought you were, and you had some things that didn't stay in the teeth or on the teeth, or some of your teeth fell out when they should have stayed in. Any number of things happen in the first year or two. And then you start realizing just how much you don't know. And the problem is most associates, they want to hit that 2-year mark, and then they want to buy their own office or do a startup because that's when the bank will lend them money. But at the same time, they haven't been a dentist long enough to realize what their failures are, what they're good at, what they're not good at, what they really want to do out of dentistry. They don't really have a good CE continuum or a program necessarily that they've joined with to help guide them in good treatment decisions and good treatment planning for their patients, and at what level. They may work in a Medicaid clinic to where they don't have any mentors. They really don't know what they're doing that much, and they're having a lot of their clinical decisions, dictated by assistants or office managers or whomever. So I thought I was ready, right when I got out, and I'm glad that I didn't buy or own or any of that. I think it was after I had several experiences in different types of practice models that then I could evaluate really what I wanted, what I liked, and what I preferred. And that's what helped me make the best decision of what type of practice I wanted to start. And it also helped give me the maturity of when to start it. I was also a little bit older in dental school than most of my classmates. So, that maturity level, did help. But as soon as I could do it is when I finally did it. So some people are ready earlier than others, but I think 4 or 5 years of clinical experience is perfect to start off and have a very successful practice very quickly. You could do it sooner and have much longer and much slower and much more painful growth. And you can do it far later, and miss out on all the benefits of being an owner. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's a personal decision, but I think that 4-year mark, 3.5, 5-year mark, somewhere around there, I think it really is a more appropriate time to set yourself up for a really good practice. You've developed a lot of skills and comfort and speed at that point to where you can actually, take care of a volume of patients to cover all of your bills and overhead and that stuff.
So looking back, given the 4 to 5 year mark, do you think that if you would have done it 2 years afterwards, after getting out of school, you would have missed out on something? Or do you think on the opposite of that, if you'd waited until 7 years out, do you feel like you'd waited too long?
7 years out, I would have waited too long. I would have left too much money on the table as far as income and debt repayment and stuff like that. 2 years out, unless I had started with a CE program, Arrowhead Dental Lab in Utah, they have a fantastic new dentist CE program. It's probably the best for a newer graduate for the value and for the dollar. They really give you a lot of tools to really start off doing really well by your patients. That will, translate over into practice success as far as the income and all that. Because if you do good work, you take care of your patients, you're likable, then they're going to refer more people to you. So that's going to work, really, really well. So had I started Arrowhead's Continuum, during dental school or right after dental school, then at 2 years, I think that would have been no problem. So I didn't start that until, later on. I'd been exposed to it as an associate, and I wish that I had started it sooner, because then I would have been in a better position, much earlier on. So, if somebody were to start that, go through that continuum, then they would be ready for ownership, far sooner, because they would be ready and able to do higher end procedures or more comprehensive dentistry on patients instead of one tooth at a time, one little problem here or there. So,
very interesting.
With the right background, I think you could do it sooner. So some business training, from Dentaltown or from one of the different CE groups, Scott Loon's Breakaway Practice, great for the business portion of it. Productive Dentist Academy with Bruce Beard, that's another good group to learn some of the business side of it. But that Arrowhead Continuum, it also has a business component as well. It would set you up really, really well if you take it and understand it before you pick a location or you start, a startup process or buying a practice process.
So whenever you went in and you were starting your practice, how did you settle on a location?
That was easy. Location's less than 2 miles from my house. I live in a neighborhood, just a newer residential growth neighborhood. And when I saw all the houses being built and finally saw some dirt being moved, and I knew it was going to be a strip center type deal, then, I just kind of went for it. The demographics played a role in it. Visibility on a good road played a role in it. And then I was kind of from the area, so I knew a lot of the history of the area, a lot of the changes over time, had some background. And I'd be able to tell people, that my family or I have been in the area for almost 20 years. So, it gives you a little more validity to you didn't just show up and say, here I am, that sort of stuff. That's what most of the other offices that are opening up around me are kind of doing that, and they don't really have a connection with the area. So I think that has been helpful.
And you've grown really, really fast. So you started in December 2013. We're almost 2 years in, and you shared with me that you have an associate, you have 3 hygienists, you have 4 assistants. I'm assuming 2 or 3 front office staff at least.
No, just 4 assistants, 3 hygienists, an associate, and me.
Oh, great! That's fantastic. With that level of staff, that must mean we're not talking about any numbers or anything like that. It says to me you've had to grown really, really quickly. What do you feel like has lent to that growth?
Location, Facebook really has been a really big one, as far as a lot of our patients recommending us via Facebook on their own timelines, or sharing our page, or if people move to the area and they post on one of the community Facebook pages, hey, I'm looking for a dentist. We have a lot of patients that recommend our office, and somebody asks that question, and somebody puts on this office over here, and another random person puts this office over there, and then I have like 25 or 30 patients for our office saying, you've got to go and see, Dr. Lathrop. Their office is fantastic. Then, the overwhelming response in our favor is what has helped to drive a lot of patients, to us. And to get that, you have to provide a higher level of customer service, quality, and not push treatment on patients. I tell people all the time, I don't want to drill in your teeth if I don't have to, because I really don't. And that really resonates with a lot of people. Most of their offices, especially the corporate offices, they push lots of treatment, whether it's needed or not, but the patients feel like they're having treatment pushed on them. And we just don't do that. So a lot of it has been word of mouth, but really via Facebook has been one of the biggest things that has helped us grow. but you got to be unique about it. So that's one of the things that we really enjoy about using Facebook is communicating with our patients and potential patients, how much fun we are.
So what do you say to all those people out there that say, nope, Facebook doesn't work? It doesn't work because I put out a post that showed a picture of my dental practices from the front, and nobody liked it, and no patients came in. I spent 20 minutes. I walked outside. I had my DSLR camera. I took the picture. I set it on a tripod. I came inside, uploaded it to the computer, put it on, or had my my office manager put it onto Facebook, and nothing worked. We didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah, so those people are kind of boring, and people just don't respond to that stuff. People respond to real life. Unfortunately, dentists who read about Facebook marketing, they read about what all these other dentists have done, and all these other dentists have paid some company to put up charts of periodontal disease or eruption patterns of permanent teeth or all this other stuff that's so boring. Patients, they don't care about that stuff. They want to see pictures of your office, but they don't want to see pictures of your sterilization area. That kind of scares people. They want to see your staff having fun, smiling. They want to see other patients with you, smiling, giving you a hug, giving you a high five, showing that you're real, you have a heartbeat, that you're nice. If other people like you, then your prospective patients or even your current patients will like you more. And if they like you, then they'll accept treatment from you. Now, people who do one paid Facebook ad and they can't calculate a direct return on their investment, then they immediately give up and they say, well, Facebook doesn't work. They're the same people who put out a really, really cheap direct mail coupon ad that's tagged in with some magazine, and they didn't get any patients from it, and they say, direct mail marketing does not work. It's a waste of money for dentists. Where you have companies like Practice Cafe or New Patients Inc. or my personal favorite, who I've used, dentalmarketing.net. They used to be 1-2-3 postcards, but they're dentalmarketing.net, and we've had great success with our direct mail campaign, which has just been part of our overall marketing push, for the area. So, Facebook can work. It can work pretty easily if you're unique, or if you're not unique and you're boring, then have a really unique and not boring staff member do it. It works far better. But you've got to have patients coming in first. Get those patients to like your page and share your page with their friends, so that it's more of a social networking for your office. Not as much social media, but social networking, because that's what you want. You want to bring in more business. And if you have patients that you have wowed with great customer service and they're Facebook active, then ask them to say, hey, would you post a review for us on Facebook? Would you post on your timeline, hey, I'm at the dentist and this place is great? It's very simple, because then you're just going to generate more interest in your practice in the area, because nobody else around you is going to be doing it. Look at the Facebook pages of your surrounding offices, and look at how many of them are posting, pictures of X-rays or clinical photos, like intraoral photos of crown seats or bloody stuff. Don't put that stuff on your Facebook page, because that scares patients away. You want to show that you're fun and exciting, nice, and friendly, and trustworthy. I mean, that's what you want to. That's the kind of message that you want to send. So, but you have to be unique about it.
So, if you go to facebook.com/Lathrop Dental Center, that's LATHROP Dental Center, CENTER, you'll be able to see Dr. Lathrop's Facebook page. Obviously, it's free domain. All you have to do to be able to see all the posts on there is, I don't know if you have to like the page or not, but you can go on there and actually look and see what he's talking about. And if you scroll down, you're going to see funny videos that have his staff involved. You have, the birthdays of the staff members are on there. You have different places that Dr. Lathrop and his family has gone to that are in his city. And if you think about it, I'll look at them, and every single one of those items, if I were to be a patient of yours, I would be inclined to hit the like button, because it's like, hey, Dr. Lathrop went to this golf outing. I like golf. I'm going to hit like. Or, there was one that you guys did that had, and just listen to these numbers for everyone out there. I see that you have 35 Facebook reviews, being open for, let's say, 22 months. That's a couple of reviews a month, and they're staying up there, perfect 5 stars on all of them. That, when Facebook, I've found, is one of the more difficult review sites to be able to get people onto. There's the first video I see is one where you did some type of like a little fake movie trailer. It's got 70 likes, 5,100 views. There's another one that has what was the one that I was looking at before? There was one for your staff and yourself being put into handcuffs for support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. There's 232 people that like that one. I mean, you just can't make this up. There's some people that you'll see, like you said, you look at other Facebook pages and you'll see one like, and it's like the practice like their own posts, and that's the only like that they have on any of their posts. So and the recurring theme is that these are all non-boring, non-clinical posts that people can actually relate to. It's really good. Y'all have done a really, really good job of it, and your staff seems to be really, really involved in doing it as well. So how do you get your staff motivated to be able to be a part of this process?
I mean, you just threaten them that you're going to fire them. No, I'm totally kidding. You don't do that. You make it fun. You try to find out their humor level, or their sense of humor, or sense of design. Sometimes it's not even humorous. It's just they put some cookies out and a pillow and take a nice picture, because they kind of have an eye for photography. Others have an eye for humor. They use our placard cards that we use from Social Dental. They provide those cards for us, and that has been a great add-on with our social media, because it makes it fun, it makes it easy. And as they send us new cards periodically, they'll send us Happy Halloween, Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas. They'll send us Super Bowl teams, who do you vote for, so you can have little quick contests. So they come up with a lot of unique, original stuff for us. But that's just part of our social media package. You can't rely just on a company like that to do everything for you. I mean, you have to be, in control of your own ship, and that's what we do. I asked us that, hey, well, what's going on? What's going on today? Anything funny happen, or do we have any good Facebook, stuff coming in, or any of that sort of stuff? And they may come up with a good idea, or they may have a patient who's in a really great, funny mood, and they'll be joking with them, and they'll come up with something. So they all have, the latitude to take a picture, to post something on there. We have it, automatic sign in on a couple of our computers, so that the staff members can put on stuff that's appropriate and engaging, stuff that they would want to see, in their own feeds and stuff like that. So we use the staff to take pictures sometimes when we don't have patients who either want to or we're behind or whatever else. So we do it at lunchtime or before work, at the end of the day, or any of that sort of stuff. So we just try to keep it up to date and current and funny. But I just ask them. You'd be amazed at what you can get if you just ask somebody nicely to do something. We work as a team. Yeah, I may write their paycheck and stuff, but we really work together. So having that team mentality really helps with asking the staff to be on board and help, just have fun during their job. Because if they're enjoying where they're working, they're going to be more productive for you as well, and they're going to spread that enjoyment to the patients. Patients are happier because they read up on, or they read into staff attitudes and stuff like that. So the whole culture of what we do is just very different than most offices. Something that people have tried to copy already, even in our local area, and they just can't pull it off right. It just looks awkward on their pages. So you got to have the whole package, and that takes a while to develop that. But just for maturity, experience, again, taking some different CE stuff, life experience, And then just being open with your staff and asking them, hey, will y'all help me do something really fun today? My wife helps out. She does a fantastic job. A lot of the stuff that we do, the pictures that have, words or whatever, or backgrounds around them, my wife does that in an app really quickly. I'll text her a picture. She'll animate it up, and she's not a graphic designer or anything like that. She just uses some little simple photo app to modify it, and then she'll post it to Facebook, from her cell phone, as if she was in the office. So sometimes it's when she's at the park or at the grocery store or at home, and she takes care of that stuff. She's been, a phenomenal help with everything that we do. Some offices, they don't have somebody internally. The dentist or the office manager is not good or not just really extroverted. So maybe they need a spouse to help them, or one of their college-age kids or even high school kids, or a staff member's family member. You have to just ask and find out who would be good at that, especially somebody who's creative, who's witty, who's just, unconventional, out-of-the-box kind of thinker. Those are the best ones to have do Facebook stuff because they keep it fresh and real and up to date and not the same old boring stuff that you see recycled on every other dentist's Facebook page, posting from some, advertising company. They post the same stuff on like 85 pages in the same day. And it shows. You can tell. People don't respond to that. It looks fake and it's just boring. People, Facebook is about instant gratification. It's got to be quick. Video works the best, gets the best response. A picture is second best. Text only gets you very little. So you really have to be engaged, and you have to utilize the technology to get exposure. So.
And how much do these videos cost you to make?
So it costs you a little bit of time and the cost of an iPad with the iMovie app. And our latest video that we did for this Halloween time of year, we've already had 9,600 views on that video. So 16 people shared it. So we do an iPad iMovie. It's all shot on the iPad. It's just a template that you modify, with your own text or whatever else, and you get your staff to do it. Usually the dentist will muck it up. So let the staff do it because they're all creative and a little bit irreverent. Sometimes works best because it's more engaging. If the dentist wants to micromanage that, the video will be an epic failure. So let your staff member with the quirkiest, funniest personality be the photographer, and let all the staff have input, talk about it. Do it in a staff meeting. Don't talk about anything else, but how are we going to do a video? What are we going to do for these scenes? And how are we going to come up with little cutesy costumes and little junk around the office to make it funny and entertaining? And if you watch our videos that we made, we have, I think, 3 of them on there that we did with the iPad. They're not professional quality. They're perfect for Facebook. And that's what really gets across, the most to people. So it didn't cost us anything but an iPad, which we already had anyway, because we use iPads for all of our patient forms and check-in and treatment plans and all sorts of stuff.
So how do you set up a system for this to work? You said that you ask, but is there anybody that's like just a curmudgeon in the practice that's just like, no, I don't want to blow a kiss at the camera for this scene? Is that a part of it?
No, we don't have any staff members who are unwilling to be on Facebook and stuff like that. And some are more than willing, so that helps. The whole culture of our office, our staff personality-wise, that's where we get most of the reviews and compliments and our post-treatment surveys, which I read every day. They're all talking about the staff. Very low percentage that they talk about me as a dentist or my associate, Dr. Borges. They're talking about the staff. Oh, they're great. The girls are so nice. I always feel warm and welcome when I'm there. So the whole culture of that has to be in place. If you have a staff full of people who don't want to change, who think they run your office or any of that, the problem is not with the staff. It's with the dentist. They don't know how to either hire or train or inspire or instill leadership and their staff members. Twan Pham in Austin, he has his Dental Maverick, series. He talks about that a lot in his leadership development program, for dentists, because that's the thing that most dentists are terrible at. They don't know how to just, grab life by the horns and make a change and make it happen. And if you don't have that, you're not going to instill that in your staff. You're not going to have them be go-getters and be creative. Because if your staff are creative, you're giving them a little bit of ownership in your practice. They love coming to work because they get to do something new. You have to support them and build them up, build them up in public, and, have little discussions with them in private if needed for adjustments or whatever else. So the whole culture has to be in place. If it's not, you're not going to really have a good, successful Facebook page. You're not going to have an overwhelmingly successful practice because your staff members are not going to be ready and willing to jump on a hand grenade for you at any time, build you up in front of the patient before you've met them. Or on the phone call, that initial first phone call that comes in, that's the most important point of contact with your practice. If they're not complimenting you as a doctor, they don't have the 100% utmost faith in your skills and ability and your character and your, compassion for your patients. If they don't portray that to your patients, you're going to coast right along and do $350,000 to $550,000 a year in production and probably collect 92% of that and be miserable and, unhappy, and you're going to hate dentistry, and you're going to say that Facebook ads don't work and direct mail doesn't work. So,
You'll have three pictures up on your Facebook page over the last 3 years, if you even have a page registered. A lot of them you'll slowly go to their Facebook page, and it's just the old places tag that's on there.
Yeah.
We talked about it earlier. I'm going to share now. You had about 20 months in, and you had 169 new patients in July. That's 169, not 69. Of the 169, how many do you feel came from your social media efforts?
Oh, man, probably from our direct social media efforts, as well as our referral network of our raving fan patients, probably 120, 130.
So 120 to 130 new patients. And how much do you think that you spend on your Facebook page a month?
Oh, well, maybe $300 to $600 a month on a high month. On a regular month, maybe $200, $300. I'll boost a post for like $60 or $80, and it'll boost it for 3 or 4 days. On a Monday or Tuesday is usually better in the morning, and boost it through the week, so that it shows up in people's feeds and stuff who are not already patients of ours. And sometimes it shows up in people's feeds that are patients of ours. They haven't liked our page yet. So then they like our page, and they comment on it and stuff like that. But during the summertime, July, we get lots of families. So it'd be mom and dad and like 3 or 4 kids. And we do that over and over and over to get 169 new patients.
Is that number growing?
So that was the most new patients we've had in a month, and we're
a lot.
We're not on anybody's insurance list because I'm not in network with any company. So usually away and some of these other companies that teach startup stuff. Well, they want you to sign up for every PPO under the sun. Well, then you can get a lot of patients from that, but they're all from insurance, which is fine. But you need way more patients when you're on insurance. We just happen to get a lot. Now, the difference in my area is most of the people here don't need any work. They're young. They've already had the wisdom teeth out. They've already had braces at least once. They've had sealants in all their teeth. They might need a sealant replaced or a buccal pit, a little filling, or they may chip a tooth. That's it. So our average new patient number or average dollar per patient in a year is pretty low, much lower than all the consultants would tell you have to have, because we don't push treatment on patients. We're not overselling. If they trip and fall and chip a tooth, they're going to come and call us. We're gonna get work out of attrition over time as they have problems or neglect or whatever. So that's the other thing is we're not hitting them with a big treatment plan the first time they come in. So we're trying to build trust, build a good relationship with the patients. And when you do that from the beginning, then they trust you, they recommend you, they rave about you, especially on social media, Facebook, Yelp, Google Plus reviews, stuff like that. Or, most importantly, when the neighbors put a post on their neighborhood Facebook page, hey, I just moved to town, I need a dentist, I need to get my teeth cleaned. And you have 20, 30, 40 people in a row recommend one office, and 5 or 6 people recommend randomly different offices. Who are you going to go with? So everything that we do is about new patient generation. But by saying that, we treat our recall patients like gold. Our emergency patients, we treat them like gold. And we tell them, hey, we'd love to see the rest of your family or any friends. If somebody needs a good dentist, then send them our way. We'd love to meet them. And it's just routine with everybody. And so you also have to be willing and able to ask for those referrals. Your staff has to be able to ask for those referrals as well, just like with the Facebook stuff. So the whole culture has to be, ready for business.
That's fantastic. Through all the interviews I've been doing, Dr. David Moffat, a really great consultant out of Australia, who's just real clever, real fun guy to talk with. He kind of put the whole new patients versus existing patients dilemma on its ear for me one day, and he said, you need to be focusing on 1,000 fantastic patients, not on 10,000 patients that are coming in. And I really feel what you're building is a culture, and when you build a culture, it's a lot harder for people to get sold through a mailer that comes in their mail to say, hey, here's a $99 new patient exam and x-rays if you come in. Well, they're not going to do that because they already have their dentist. They already have the place they like to go to, the place that they relate to, the place that shows them the funny videos that they see on the internet and that they want to hit the like button and connect with via social media. So I think it's a really great thing that you're doing there. So we're running a little bit short on time. I think I could probably talk to you about Facebook advertising in general because we really only touched the surface of what all you can do. We could definitely go into things such as targeting posts, targeting demographics, using lookalike audiences, using sponsored posts, using ads, using offers, using video, and all these other things. But I really feel
there's so much more that you can do that we've kind of glazed the surface, but our Facebook page is a good example of things that work.
Right.
And
there's nothing on your Facebook.
Just look at that.
Now, what you've done on your Facebook page is really, really fantastic, and it's a really, really good Facebook page. But I don't see anything on here that someone that is starting a practice anew next year can't do themselves.
Absolutely.
So that's a really great resource, and I'm really glad you came on and shared that with us. I'd like to have a real quick question before we go. If you were starting, I try to do this for every practice owner. If you were restarting your practice today, would you do anything differently, and if so, what would it be?
I would add a hygienist far sooner than I thought I was able to. I would equip the extra rooms for capacity as fast as possible, because in a high growth area, and of course with all of our social media stuff, the biggest thing I think we missed out on were scheduling patients too far out, new patients. And by having the capacity and the staff, I think you're able to make it happen far faster. But other than that, we grew very rapidly and equipped the whole office to 7 ops, fully equipped in a rather short amount of time. And so I would do it. That's the only thing different, is I would add staff a little bit sooner than I did. You want to be overstaffed. You never want to be understaffed.
It's a great lesson. So, okay, well, I appreciate your time very much. To wrap us up, if anyone wants to reach out to you, what's a good way for them to be able to send you an email or something like that if they have any questions?
Shoot me an email. They can actually. It's even easier is they can just pull up our Facebook page and send a message. I get all those, so I read all the messages. But they can easily email me at it's just drlathrop@gmail.com. drlathrop@gmail.com. Easiest way to get a hold of me.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. And so one last question. Do you have for anyone that is wanting to be better at social media or better at marketing, do you have any type of resources that they may be able to look into?
I would read Social Dental, read about their company, maybe talk to them. There's also a great company with great blog posts on social media. They're Modern Dental Practice Marketing out of Dallas, Texas. And they have a lot of blog posts on social media itself. Very interesting, good background. Otherwise, don't read anything about social media for dentists because usually most of it's all incorrect. Read about social media for a nail salon or flower shop or a hair place because those ideas are unique and out of the box. And if you implement ideas from successful businesses and you just apply it to a dental practice, you're far better off than Googling social media marketing for dental or dental practice or dentist or whatever. Read about effective social media. But look in your own Facebook feed. What do you click on? What do you like? What appeals to you? What's going to grab your attention? Usually it's video. So just take that and run with it.
Fantastic. That's really, really good advice. So, okay. Well, again, thank you for your time, and we'll let you know whenever the podcast is ready.
Fantastic. Glad to participate. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Thanks, Dr. Lathrop.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
To get that bonus clip, simply text PRACTICE to 33444. That's PRACTICE to 33444. Or visit startyourdentalpractice.com/bonus if you're outside of the U.S. So that's it for today's episode, but that doesn't mean that the learning and implementation have to stop there. I've created a free report called The 15 Numbers That Will Make or Break Your Dental Practice. This report has been downloaded over 1,000 times by dental professionals. So if you want your free copy of this report that's going to outline what the most important numbers are in any dental practice, and it also includes how to look at your numbers, how to set goals, has a whole slew of really important information that is the culmination of all of my experience as a dental CPA, then just go to startyourdentalpractice.com/free gift. That is startyourdentalpractice.com/free gift. And so that's it for today, Ambitious Dentist. Again, I'm Jonathan Van Horn, CPA and ABV. I'll see you next week with another world-class practice owner or consultant that will help you start your very own dental practice. Thank you guys so much for being a part of the Start Your Dental Practice community. If you enjoyed today's episode, please do me a favor and go to startyourdentalpractice.com/iTunes to leave your honest feedback and review on iTunes. It's going to help me create a better experience, a better show, a better podcast for you, the ambitious dentist. Your feedback really does help, regardless if you like the show today or not. If you didn't like the show, let me know, because it's going to help me create a better show and podcast for you. Lastly, if you know of anybody that would benefit from today's episode and today's content, today's guest, please feel free to share with them on social media or through email.